Welcome to Shelkoff Field on this sunny Sunday morning, May 29th, 1994. The 126th commencement ceremonies at Cornell University. My name is Roy Ives, and the great-great-great-grandson of Cornell University founder Ezra Cornell, who is indeed himself Ezra Cornell, is with me again this morning. Ezra, it makes little difference how many of these events one attends. There is a sense of anticipation, excitement, happiness, joy as you approach Shelkoff Field on a Sunday morning of Commencement Day.
Even a little tension in the air, perhaps in anticipation of will the degrees really be handed out today? I think so.
Approximately 25,000 people are expected to jam the Cornell Crescent, the West Stands, this morning to see nearly 6,000 degrees conferred. The procession begins on the Arts Quad. The academic procession is scheduled to begin at 9:30, just 32 minutes ago. Now, 9:30, 9:40 is a more perhaps realistic time for the actual procession to begin. It'll wind its way from the Arts Quad through the campus and enter Shelkoff Field. The first members of the procession should be approaching Shelkoff Field fairly shortly, and when there are nearly 6,000 degree candidates, along with Board of Trustees, administration, faculty, to process into Shelkoff Field, it takes very nearly an hour for the entire procession to occur. Shortly, ceremonies are scheduled to begin at 11 o'clock, and the past few years, any indication, perhaps a couple of minutes before we'll get underway. And already, the PhD candidates are approaching Shelkoff Field. The candidates for graduate school, Dean Walter Cohen leading the candidates. At the head of the procession is the University Marshal, Professor J. Robert Cook. And then we saw the banner for the class of 1994. Banner bearers, Janice Cam, Senior Class Commencement Chair, and Susan Greenwood, Senior Class Convocation Chair. Following the class banner are the college or school academic units. Each school or college is identified by its name banner. We'll also see a symbol banner which visually represents or reflects the academic focus of that college or school. Bearers of the banners and the symbols are chosen by each college or school as an honor to recognize outstanding students. The first to arrive behind the class banner, the PhD candidates of the graduate school, led by the Dean of the graduate school, Professor Walter Cohen, and two faculty marshals, Professor John Booker and Professor Elizabeth Atkins Regan. PhD banner bearers are Jeff Boskowitz and Ma Zheng Wang. The degree marshals for the PhD candidates are Amy Lanou and Bruce Pivets. Banner for the class of 1994. Yesterday, in Barton Hall at 5, the PhD recognition ceremony was held. Recipients of doctoral degrees honored by Cornell President Frank H.T. Rhodes and the Board of Trustees for their significant academic achievements. Rhodes and Walter Cohen, the graduate school dean, congratulated each recipient. Music was provided by the Cornell Wind Ensemble, and the degrees will actually be conferred, of course, during today's commencement ceremony.
And Sandra K. Washington. The Master's banner bearers are Sanford Lewis and Susan Weeds.
Also yesterday at 5 o'clock
Graduate
was
School
the commissioning of the
symbol banner carried
ROTC
by Susan
cadets,
Solero.
which was held in the Kennedy Hall Alumni Auditorium.
The music you're hearing being provided by the Cornell University Wind Ensemble, the conductor, Professor Mark Scatterday. The choral music, which we'll hear a bit later, the Cornell Chorus and Cornell University Glee Club, the conductor, Ronald Schiller. The anthem, incidentally, was composed by Ronald Schiller. The anthem With Patient Zeal, an anthem for commencement. Cornell President Frank Rhodes has announced his retirement. The search has begun for a successor to Cornell's 9th president, who took office in 1977. And Ezra, I will not forget hearing President Rhodes' first speech to the Cornell community on that August 1st, during his investiture, I think is the proper term, as Cornell president. And the man's speeches have electrified, pleased, and sometimes even made listeners giddy ever since.
Certainly the speeches have brought great inspiration and great leadership to the campus. I do hope at some point that a collection of his speeches are properly put together.
The procession continues to wend its way into Shelkoff Field. Of course, one of the delights of being here at commencement ceremony, certainly for family members, but for those of us who are just observers, is the delight on the faces. As young people taking a grand step forward, celebration certainly, relief perhaps.
Relief for their parents too.
One of the most charming moments is when President Rhodes asks the degree candidates to acknowledge their families in the Cornell Crescent, to turn and applaud them. And we'll be seeing that perhaps an hour from now. And again, Ezra, we have been favored on commencement day with wonderful weather.
Beautiful, beautiful weather.
Ladies and gentlemen, now entering the stadium gate are the candidates from the College of Veterinary Medicine who will be awarded the degree of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. They are led by Dean Robert Webster and degree marshals Elizabeth Goldman and Beth Schwartz. The College Day banner bearers are Justin Coggin and Regina Tobin.
As you see, the entering candidates for Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, the PA announcer here, Lang Kennedy, who is the retiring athletic director, introducing the veterinary school degree candidates.
Yesterday at 4, the veterinarians received their formal hoods for this ceremony. Academic hoods that are worn.
The College of Veterinary Medicine school candidates led by Dean Robert Femister, degree marshals Elizabeth Goldman and Beth Schwartz, The college name banner bearers are Justin Goggin and Regina Tobin. The symbol banner bearer is Nicole Northrup.
Entering the stadium are the Masters of Business Administration candidates.
Now the Masters of Business Administration candidates from the Samuel Curtis Johnson Graduate School of Management, led by Dean Alan Merton.
Kristen Daly.
The degree marshals, Brian Barnett and Kristen Daly. The name banner bearers are Leslie Howard and Ignacio Sosa. The symbol banner bearer is Andrew Sutphin.
The degree candidates from the law school and the medical school in New York City are not participating in today's ceremony. Separate commencement ceremonies for the law school and the medical school were held earlier this week.
Roy, I understand that the recruiting activities at the business school this year went exceptionally well, and we don't have to worry about students getting jobs from our business school this year.
Yeah, there's always that anxiety. Well, we've achieved this grand step, applied ourselves for 4, 5, 6, whatever number of years, but there's one question that may remain. A job. Right. Masters of Business Administration candidates from the Samuel Curtis Johnson Graduate School of Management, led by Dean Alan Merton, degree candidates from the law school and the medical college in New York City, not participating in today's ceremony. Separate commencement ceremonies for the law school and medical college were held earlier this week. The president of the Association of American Medical Colleges spoke at commencement ceremonies in New York on Thursday in Avery Fisher Hall at Lincoln Center.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The Alumni Award of Distinction was presented to Mary Ann Payne, Cornell Clinical Professor Emeritus of Medicine. Medical College Dean Dr. Robert Michaels conferred Doctor of Medicine degrees on 92 candidates, PhD degrees on 24 graduates, and Master of Science degrees on 3 candidates.
and Michael Rapolas, class council officers.
Entering the field are the first of the undergraduate degree candidates, led by 2 class marshals. They are Kathleen Burdett, president of the class of 1994, and William Sang, vice president of the class. The senior class council banner, carried by Melissa Herb and Michael Rapolas, class council officers.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first undergraduate group entering the stadium is the School of Industrial and Labor Relations, led by Dean David Lipsky.
The School of Industrial and Labor Relations is the first undergraduate group entering Shelkoff Field, led by Dean David Lipsky. The degree marshals are Elizabeth Fishman and Mark Schwartz. The school's name banner bearers are Stephen Shemelkin and Anne Marie Yarwood. The symbol banner bearer is Michael Marchant. And really the most important part of the day, all those wonderful smiling faces. Degree candidates and certainly family members and parents alike. The College of Architecture,
College of
Art, and
Architecture,
Planning is
Art,
led by
and Planning.
Dean William McMinn.
Stadium led by
The degree
Dean
marshals
William
for
McMinn.
the architecture program
The degree marshals
are Mark
for the
Pasnick
architecture program
and
are
Jennifer
Mark Pasnick
Slavik.
and Jennifer Slavik.
The degree marshals
The
for the
degree
Fine
marshals
Arts
for the
program
Fine Arts program
are Julie Hirschfeld and Carolyn Lee.
The degree marshals for
The degree marshals for the planning program are Yumi Ahn and Douglas Mons. The named banner bearers are Amanda Gossman and Todd Teal. The symbol banner bearer is John Arlotto.
Roy, you can feel the enthusiasm mounting. There's some cheering we can hear coming up the road.
Now the School of Hotel Administration begins to enter Shelkoff Field, their march from the Art Squad through the campus. The hotel school led by Dean David Dittman. Degree marshals are Nikki Shirilau and Amelia Lim. The school's name banner bearers are Matthew Schroeder and Leo Yen. The symbol banner bearer is Elizabeth Forbes.
The symbol banner bearer is Matthew Schroeder.
And you can see the nearly 6,000 seats on the actual playing field here at Shelkoff, slowly filling with degree candidates. And behind them there, just a small portion of the many thousands, nearly 25,000 people gathered in Shelkoff Field to witness their sons, daughters, brothers, sisters at this 126th commencement. And the faces turned, many of them, toward the Shelkoff Crescent, seeking family members, an often futile exercise in that mass of people. But the delight that you see when someone does find a family member.
Oh, yes.
Now the College of Human Ecology, led by Dean Francile Fireball. The degree marshals are Christopher Lee and Karen Leffler. The college's name banner bearers are Michael Gennaro and Stephanie Olshan. The symbol banner bearer is Raina Proman. And here we see the Cornell Crescent.
Roy, we seem to have a very orderly processional this year. Not too many unusual hats. Very dignified so far. Occasional chef's hat from the hotel school.
And red roses carried by nearly every member of the class of '94. Many balloons, of course. Every once in a while, you'll see some message etched in masking tape on the top of the mortar board. Sometimes individually, or people who've decided to sit together can spell out a message sometimes. We'll have to wait and see. There's a beautiful picture of the Cornell Crescent. And of course, there are still people wending their way in. And PA announcer, athletic director Lang Kennedy will be repeatedly asking people to squeeze to the center to make room for all those who wish to witness this ceremony, this tradition-filled ceremony, Ezra.
Lang has done an excellent job over the years being the announcer for these ceremonies. And I would imagine since he's leaving the post of athletic director, there'll be somebody new in the role next year.
Viewed toward Shelkoff House there. Now the College of Engineering enters Shelkoff Field, led by Dean John Hopcroft. Degree marshals Brian Rose and Kathleen Vape. The college's name banner bearers are Jamie Estupinian and Catherine LaBelle. The symbol banner bearer, Austin Fract. There are many hundreds of volunteers, Cornell staff members, who work from early this morning until perhaps 1 or 2 this afternoon, helping to organize this event. You'll see many of them in the red Cornell jackets. Acting as ushers, those who retrieve the banners after each school has completed its procession. This is the biggest single crowd that annually gathers in Ithaca, a city of a population of approximately 29,000 people, and at this day it is swelled by 25,000 approximately visitors. And if you want a hotel room, you register when you're a freshman.
Or commute from Binghamton or Elmira for the day.
And again, the west-facing Cornell Crescent. People there at the top have such a beautiful view of the interior of Shelkoff Field and then out over the campus, down into the valley, the hills beyond. It's a lovely setting. If I correct, that looks like the Texas flag. Someone carrying into Shelkoff Field.
Roy, there are students graduating today from all over the United States, all over the world, literally.
A couple of years ago, I think 3 years ago, in his speech, President Rhodes greeted the candidates and their parents and family members by saying, "We welcome people from," I think it was 120 countries. He paused and said, "and Long Island." Which elicited a roar from the crowd. And again, those smiling faces looking into the crescent, seeking a recognizable face.
Roy, you'll notice that the mortarboard tassels are being traditionally worn on the right side at this moment. After the conferring of degrees, they can swing their tassels.
Now, the tossing of the mortarboards into the air at the moment of commencement of the degrees conferred is being discouraged because they sail like a frisbee and they have the pointed, sharp edge in the 4 corners, and they're a weapon. Ithaca perhaps a little late in greening up this year, as we had an early spring that was quite beautiful, but then it became rather cool for the last few weeks. But as you can see, by Memorial Day weekend, commencement weekend. Ithaca, that beautiful, lush spring green. This academic procession that began at about 9:30, 9:40 this morning in the Cornell Arts Quad continues. The College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, being led by Dean David Call, degree marshals Clara Lear-Lon and James Novak. There's the Cornell Wind Ensemble. Dean David Call leads the Agriculture and Life Sciences College. Degree marshals Clara Lear-Lon, as we said, and James Novak. College's name banner bearers, Corrine Burns and Jennifer Herstein. The symbol banner bearer is Shari Weissenfeld.
The symbol banner bearer is Shari Weissenfeld.
Waves to friends in the Cornell Crescent. Some mascots being worn by degree candidates. The ceremony proper will begin at approximately 11 o'clock. And if past commencements are any indication of the past few, it may begin a few minutes prior to that. The one speaker will be Cornell President Frank Rhodes. And by Cornell tradition, the degrees conferred will all be earned. There will be no honorary degrees conferred. It's very simple. If you have a Cornell degree, you earned it. Now, there were a few honorary degrees conferred in the 1870s, I believe. But that was a very brief and very few. Nearly 6,000 degree candidates continue the procession into Cornell's Shelkoff Stadium.
As the Agricultural College continues to go by, it's important to note that Dean David Call will also be retiring at the end of next year as well, along with Frank Rhodes. I believe that he has been dean about as long as Frank Rhodes has been president, right?
Approximately 1977.
I believe so.
not sure if Kermit the Frog is a candidate, but he is being carried into Shelkoff. We mentioned the number of volunteers that keep this wonderful ceremony organized and running on time. Preparations for Cornell commencement really, in actuality, begin Tuesday for 1995. One of the candidates carries a kite into Shelkoff Field. I don't know that it's going to be able to be picked up because it is quite a ways in the air. In any event, the preparations for commencement really do begin this coming Tuesday for next year. It is, as you might imagine, quite a challenge to put on an event at which nearly 6,000 degrees are conferred, at which 25,000 people witness the event.
It's really a weekend-long event. There have been things going on since Friday. Yesterday was a very full day, as we discussed earlier.
Yes, yesterday, Ezra Cornell, you attended the president's breakfast reception, I believe.
Yes, that's such a happy occasion.
You said the mood yesterday was a little different than you sensed as you came into Shelkoff Field this morning.
Well, in many ways, there was such a newness of life and happiness going on yesterday at the breakfast. It reminded me of going to our lab of ornithology early in the morning and hearing the birds creating a ruckus in the spring. Those were the sounds coming from the parents and the students, just so happy that this weekend has finally come to pass.
The College of Agriculture and Life Sciences continues their procession into Cornell Shelkoff Field.
We have a Canadian student robed in his country's flag.
Maple leaf. One of the most colorful portions of the procession is the faculty procession.
Ladies and gentlemen,
With
entering the stadium gate is the College of Arts and
multi-colored
Sciences,
robes.
led by Dean
Now the
Don
College of
Randall.
Arts and Sciences begins
The
their
degree
procession.
marshals are Charles Keaton II
The leader,
and
Dean
Tamar
Don Randall.
Sherman.
Degree
The
marshals
main
are
banner
Charles
bearers are
Keaton
Noah
and
Zapp
Tamar
and
Sherman.
Tom Chang.
Name banner
The
bearers,
symbol banner
Noah
bearer
Zatz and
is
Tom
Annemieke
Shang.
Van Zandt.
Symbol banner bearer, Annemieke Van Zandt. This is the last. They're the maple leaf. This is the last of the undergraduate schools, the College of Arts and Sciences, to enter. And it will take some time for this portion of the procession to be complete. It will be followed by the senior administrative staff of the university. Now the north end of the Cornell Crescent. There is still a bit of room remaining at the very north end, but still many hundreds of people still entering Cornell's Shelkoff Field. Raggedy Ann doll.
friend graduating? Your master?
Would a commencement ceremony anywhere be have quite the same sound without Edward Elgar's pomp and circumstance march? I don't remember which number it is. 5, maybe. Being performed by the Cornell Wind Ensemble. The conductor is Professor Mark Scatterday. As for Cornell, you mentioned that it was a busy weekend. This the
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to
ultimate moment of the commencement weekend. A lot of other things going on.
One of the most interesting things for me as a university trustee was a dinner held last night in honor of
we want to accommodate
former
everyone.
President
We want to give
Dale
everyone
Corson
an opportunity to see
and his lovely wife, Nellie. It
graduation ceremony. So
was
please
a dinner
go
held
to
at
the
Willard
center
Strait Hall's
of each
Memorial
row.
Room, and present were 4 of Cornell's presidents. Frank Rhodes, Dale Corson, Jim Perkins, and Dean Malott. In addition, the Board of Trustees had a full schedule of meetings both yesterday and Friday.
Well, we said earlier that President Rhodes has announced his retirement and the search has begun for a successor. This will not be his last commencement ceremony as president. It's anticipated that he will preside during commencement ceremonies for the class of 1995, 1 year from now. By the University Marshal, and we'll begin with Cornell Glee Club and Chorus and all of us in attendance singing the national anthem. And then President Rhodes, without introduction, will speak.
Yesterday's activities Also included at noon, the senior convocation with former NASA astronaut and Cornell Medical College alumni graduate Mae Jemison, the first Afro-American woman in space.
And certainly not everyone now present attended the convocation, but many thousands did.
Yes.
Procession continues into Cornell Shelkoff Field. This, the College of Arts and Sciences. This academic procession began just about an hour ago from the Cornell Arts Quad.
This morning, there was a baccalaureate service, Roy, in Bailey Hall, which was I think we can call it a tradition now, begun by Frank Rhodes about 12 years ago. And this morning's speaker was President Dennis O'Brien from the University of Rochester. Baccalaureate service has invited all of the graduates, their families, and all the retirees that are retired this year from the university.
And they will be recognized at this ceremony. As the camera pulls back, we see some of the thousands of people gathered on this mostly sunny Sunday at Shelkoff Field. And again, the procession winding its way through the spring green Cornell campus. And the kite that was carried in. I don't know how he got that through all the trees and wires on the roads leading to Shelkoff. He certainly did. Wind Ensemble. That one empty section you see at the front of the seating area on the Shelkoff Field playing service for the Cornell faculty. class banner, the class of 1994. There's a way to get a few thousand moms to look your way.
There you go.
He hopes his, I think. That sign was turned toward us a moment ago. There it is.
There's a Cornell banner. There's a lot of pride in the Cornell degree.
And a greeting to Cornell President Frank Rhodes on the other side of the Hi Mom sign. And wherever there's a camera, there are people waving to it. Red and white balloons predominate. Wouldn't be a bit surprised if we're nearing the end of the degree candidate portion of this academic procession.
Now entering the stadium,
Indeed.
senior administrative staff of the university, led by Provost Meldon Neschheim.
Here we have the
Two
senior
faculty
administrative
marshals,
staff.
Professor Thomas
Provost
Dyckman
Malden
and
Neschheim
Professor Daniel
leads
Tapper.
this portion of the procession. Two faculty marshals, Professor Thomas Dyckman and Professor Daniel Tapper. Now we'll see some of the rich variety of color in the academic robes. From the United States, North American universities, from many European universities. This is still the undergraduate procession concluding. The degree candidates have concluded their portion of the procession. The senior administrative staff of the university entering,
Ladies
as
and
we can
gentlemen,
see
the
there.
university marshals.
And now,
Now,
the arrival of the
members
faculty.
of Cornell's great faculty.
University
Led by
Marshal.
The Dean of the Faculty, Professor Peter Stein. The faculty marshals are
Leads
Professor
members
Jerome
of the
Eichler,
faculty, led by the Dean of the faculty,
Thor
Professor
Roden,
Peter Stein.
Professor Ferdinand Rodriguez,
Faculty marshals,
Professor
Professor Joan
Schwartz.
Egner, Professor Thor Roden, Professor Ferdinand Rodriguez,
Will all
and Professor
candidates
Ruth
for degrees
Schwartz.
and members of the platform
And
party,
now,
please rise at this
all the
time
candidates
and
for
remain
degrees and members
standing until after the national anthem.
of the Platform Party are asked to rise and remain standing until after the national anthem. Following the national anthem, the faculty will be escorted down the center aisle on the Cornell Shelkoff Field playing surface. The University Marshal will then return to the northwest entrance to Shelkoff Field, where he will then escort the president to the platform. Here's the faculty members in attendance here entering Shelkoff Field. And we can't forget the members of the Board of Trustees, with one glaring exception. Ezra Cornell is not processing. He is sitting here with me as we look out over Shelkoff Field. I'm glad you're here, sir.
Well, we've had some momentary clouds, but I think the sun is trying to come back out.
Mostly blue skies. Look at all the colors. Degree robes from all over the world. And again, the High Frank side. Faculty moving right along. Well, we have a moment since things will move right along, and we want to say a few things about President Rhodes before he speaks. He is the 9th president of Cornell University. He has announced his resignation, although this will not be the last commencement ceremony in which he will participate and preside. President Rhodes, elected February 16th, 1977, and took office on August 1st of that year. He's a geologist by training, holds the faculty rank, a professor of geology at Cornell. He was born October 29th, 1926 in Warwickshire, England. Received a Bachelor of Science degree with first-class honors from the University of Birmingham, England, followed by a Doctor of Philosophy degree and a Doctor of Science degree from that same institution. Holds honorary degrees from 24 institutions, including Dartmouth College, Johns Hopkins University, the University of Illinois, University of Michigan, Ohio State University, and the University of Wales. Honorary member of Phi Beta Kappa. Now, President Rhodes went to the University of Illinois in 1950 as a postdoctoral fellow and Fulbright scholar.
Next in the procession,
He's also a lecturer of geology in the University of Durham, England. Went to the University of Wales in Swansea as professor of geology in 1956. Named Dean of the Faculty of Science there in 1967. He's received numerous awards.
the faculty marshals are Professor Carl Gortic and Professor John Sherry. Accompanying the trustees are today's baccalaureate speakers, Dennis O'Brien.
The faculty procession has concluded, and there is the University Mace, the beautiful silver mace that has marvelous tradition of its own.
Mace bearer this year, as last year, is Professor Emeritus Jean Robinson, who is the first woman to bear the mace.
The story bears repeating. Perhaps a little better than 20 years ago, at a ceremony at Barton Hall, the mace was cradled in its holder when, during a period of excitement and
Student unrest.
student unrest, yes, the nice term. The mace was used for its intended purpose, to maintain order. It was wielded there as the mace, and Cornell President Frank Rhodes follows. And the applause.
He's so popular.
I'm sure part of his thoughts must be that this is the penultimate year for him to preside at Cornell Commencement. And the temptation may be to stop and shake hands and exchange a word with nearly everyone he sees, because he did a little bit of catching up to the procession there.
But he's always done that. He always takes a moment for everybody to give a fond greeting, a smile, an applause.
A remarkable man. And certainly one of the finest speakers it's been my privilege ever to hear. The degree candidates applauding President Rhodes, he returns that applause. And he applauds the family members gathered in the Cornell Crescent as he looks up to the east. The procession concluding with President Rhodes as he moves down the center aisle. As we said earlier, the national anthem will be sung after the assembly is called to order, and at the conclusion of the national anthem, President Rhodes, without introduction, will speak. By tradition, he is the speaker at Cornell Commencement, the only speaker.
The trustees and senior administration will be seated behind President Rhodes on the podium.
The ceremony is about to begin. Everyone gathered for the 126th commencement ceremony at Cornell University. The graduate candidates, undergraduate candidates, in their seats, family and friends, some 25,000 strong, jamming the Cornell Crescent and West stands. And the ceremony will begin with the national anthem, followed by President Rhodes' speech. Ezra Cornell and I will keep silent and let you watch and listen.
Mr. President, for the 126th time, candidates for degrees from Cornell University have gathered for conferral of degrees and to celebrate commencement. Members of the Board of Trustees, the faculty, administrative officers, and guests are in their places. The assembly is hereby called to order. While we remain standing, let us join the Glee Club in chorus in singing the Star-Spangled Banner.
be seated. Members of the wonderful class of 1994, candidates for advanced degrees, parents, spouses, families, and friends of the graduates, Chairman Weiss and other members of the Board of Trustees, President O'Brien, our distinguished baccalaureate speaker, distinguished colleagues and fellow members of the faculty and staff, and honored guests. This is a wonderful day for all of us, and one that we shall not soon forget. It's been said that a number 2 pencil and a dream can carry you anywhere. And they have taken you from every state in the Union and from some 100 other lands to Sholkoff Field here this morning. And we congratulate you and salute you on it. I know that's not always been easy. There's a wonderful student slogan from the late 60s that says, "Be realistic, demand the impossible." And Cornell has frequently demanded that of you. And even today, after all you've been through, you have to sit through one final lecture at commencement, presumably just in case you miss something on the way along. So let me assure you that these addresses serve several functions. Some arise from them greatly inspired, and some awake from them greatly refreshed. Just the same, you should know that it is the custom at commencement for the commencement speaker to be brief, however long that may take. But of course, you're used to lectures far longer than even I intend to speak. In fact, the only way you can get a Cornell degree is the old-fashioned way. You earn it. Joe Louis, on winning the heavyweight title, was asked how it felt, and he replied, after a moment's thought, "If I had to do it all over again, I don't think I'd have the strength." And some of you may have the same feeling today, but all of us here in the audience salute the energy and dedication with which you have pursued your studies and completed your degrees. Now, if you're not a Cornell graduate in the audience today, you may say to yourself, what is so different about a Cornell degree? Because these are not just degrees, they are Cornell degrees. And our students themselves have provided a series of answers. I have selected some of the more appropriate for commencement occasions such as this. Cornell is the only place where you will walk up a 50-degree incline in 10-degree weather to get a 30% on a prelim. Cornell is the only place where people correct the graffiti on the walls. And in the light of our founder's motto, Cornell is the only institution where any person can worry about passing any subject. But you have made the grade, and all of us salute you with pride, and in my case with a certain amount of deference here this morning. Deference because you are about to receive those hard-earned Cornell degrees. I still have another year to go. And even then, the most that I can hope for is an ABD, all but degree. Class of '94, we are proud of you, and we congratulate you, and we thank you for all that you've contributed to this institution during your time here. Each of you will have a story of personal commitment and of personal triumph to tell, so far as your years on campus are concerned. And I want to pick just 2 people this morning and talk about them as representative of the whole class. And in saluting them, salute all of you for the obstacles you've overcome and the efforts that you have sustained. The first of these is Helene Rosenblatt, and she graduates today in human ecology which is located over here. Helene completes a degree that she began 50 years ago when World War II interrupted her studies. The other person whom I've come to know and admire so much during these last few weeks is Mary Jo Fink. Mary Jo Fink is graduating today with a master's degree in the hotel school. And it will not have escaped your attention that the hotel school is located over here. Mary Jo Fink was told some months ago that she had cancer. And since then, she has undergone 2 major operations and a course of chemotherapy. But before I'd met her, she wrote to me to tell her of her experience at Cornell and her closeness to her classmates. In fact, the classmates and the faculty and the deans had sent her flowers and cards, a painting of the campus, a video, and notes and cards constantly streaming in to remind her that she belonged here on campus. And she wrote, "I am living to come back at the end of May to be able to walk with my class. With a disease whose cure is 90% attitude, I feel I owe my life to Cornell." And Mary Jo Fink, you were in the parade today and you're here in the stadium, and we salute you and say welcome home to campus. That represents the caring spirit of Cornell at its best, and you, the class of '94, are an inspiring example of its benefits. And like Helene and Mary Jo, many of you here today are in large measure here because of the encouragement and love and support of other people who've helped and nurtured you along the way. And one group here has been particularly close to those graduating today. The fathers, the mothers, the step-parents, the siblings, the spouses, the children, the immediate families of today's graduates. It's said, you know, that people don't bring up children anymore, they finance them. But we all know there's much more to it than that, and most of us do not tell our families often enough how grateful we are to them, how much they mean to us, how proud we are of them, and how much we love them. And so, family members, will you stand today so that those graduating can tell you those things? Please stand, family members. Thank you. Please be seated. But there are others here in the stadium who figured prominently in the success that we celebrate today, and I want to acknowledge them and their contributions by recognizing those who are retiring from their ranks at the end of this academic year. The Board of Trustees, whose devotion year in and year out to the university is the secret of our success, is observing this year the retirement of several members: Lillian Afinito, Stephen Philo, Isaac Kramnick, Judith Munson, Nancy Richmond, and Harvey Sampson. We also note the retirement, because of ill health earlier in the year, of Judy Vandermark. From the faculty, there are 19 members who retire, and collectively they represent 543 years of service. And from the staff, 43 dedicated men and women who collectively represent over 1,000 years of dedicated service. I want also to mention two colleagues in the administration who are retiring today, Vice Presidents Larry Palmer and Stuart Lynn. All those who are retiring, will you stand so that we can salute and thank you, and in thanking you, salute all of your colleagues who are so devoted in their commitment to Cornell. Please stand. Four years, 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, more years, the images blur of your time on campus. Hillary Clinton explaining the president's health care plan in Barton Hall. Hans Bethe explaining the significance of the Manhattan Project that produced the first atomic bomb. Sledding in a once-in-a-lifetime experience, sledding down Buffalo Street on a mattress. In the great blizzard of '93, only to be repeated again a year later in the great blizzards of '94. Quiet walks through the rain-soaked, misty gorges and snowdrops blooming in the spring sunshine on Ruth Uri's slope just before being buried again by the new snowfall. The friendships you've made, the interests you've developed, all these are part of what you've become. And my job is to say something useful at the end of the journey. It's traditional at commencements for speakers to give you good advice, and it's equally traditional for you to ignore it. And yet I take some consolation in the fact that occasionally I find students have written and listened and recorded their impressions. One of those was a reporter for the Cornell Daily Sun. And reporting one speech that I'd given, he said, his remarks were drier than usual, but also more sincere. I take that as a good sign. Because for all its challenges and all its opportunities, Cornell does have some differences from the real world. Woody Allen once said that 90% of life is showing up, and you have shown up. And much of the rest of your experience here has followed naturally from that. Here you've had clear objectives and specific tasks, pleasant things like distribution requirements and course sequences, and that's given you a roadmap that you've been more or less compelled to follow. You've had a ready-made community of friends and advisors and counselors. You've had a built-in hope, not just of a degree, but of a challenging career and a rewarding life to which the degree will provide entry. It's been a distinctive environment, and you have prospered here. But now you leave. You leave this placid lake of scholarly inconclusiveness for a threatening ocean of demanding choices. Those of you who heard Dave Barry speak in Bailey this spring may be wishing now that you had taken his advice. Here's what he said. Stay at Cornell. There are no jobs out there anymore. Tell your parents you're sophomores. They're old. They forget anyway. But they can count, too. And it's too late now for that advice. Unless you bolt quickly, you are about to graduate. And no longer can you follow a roadmap and drift with the current and assume that you will reach your destination. Decisions have to be made, and questions loom, and a single question looms very large, far above the rest. And the question is this: is there life after Cornell? And my answer on reflection is yes, but it's a provisional yes. Yes, but only if you constantly and consciously build it. Get a life, you tell your roommate, who does little except study day after day. Get a life, you tell a parent, who's failed somehow to notice that you no longer need quite the degree of oversight that you did at age 12. Get a life, you tell a friend, who worries more about your lifestyle and schedule than about her own. But what does getting a life require? DeWitt Jones, the photographer, once said, there are a million ways to get from birth to death, and every one of them works. So what is it that I'm asking you to build? A successful life, it has been said, involves at least three parts. Something to do, someone to love, something to hope for. And most of you, I hope, will find something to do. Dave Barry notwithstanding, the job outlook this year is better than it's been for years, and many of you I know have already succeeded in your job searches. Others are still continuing their education, going on to graduate and professional school, and still others into the Peace Corps and other activities, and some of you are still undecided. I read a comment just a week or so ago by Art Buchwald, who was on a campus at commencement time and said that he bumped into an English major and began to chat about Hamlet. Suppose, said Art Buchwald, suppose you were a prince of Denmark and you came back from school and discovered that your uncle had murdered your father and married your mother, and you fell in love with a beautiful girl named Ophelia and mistakenly murdered her father. And then Ophelia went crazy and drowned herself in a brook. What would you do? And the student thought for a moment and said, I guess I'd go for my master's degree. You've worked very hard for those degrees, and the world owes you a chance to use them, and my guess is that it will give you not one chance, but many, all lifelong. But what do you choose? Robert Bellah has said there are three kinds of ways of earning a living. The first is a job, and the goal is simply that, to earn a living. The second is a career, where you advance through various professional stages in the course of a lifetime. And a third is a calling, an ideal blending of activity and character which makes work inseparable from life. Of course, some jobs become careers, and some careers become callings, and some callings become jobs. But I hope during the course of your careers, you will also find the joy of a calling. Change, of course, is inevitable. There's no avoiding that. It's been said that the moment anyone invents a better mousetrap, somebody immediately comes up with a better mouse. And all of you, during the course of your careers, are going to face change. I hope you'll welcome it. I hope you'll continue to dream dreams and then pencil in deadlines beside them. I hope you'll never stop learning. I hope you'll have larger goals, and then you won't have just a job or just a career, but a calling. Requirement number one, something to do. And the second requirement of a successful life is someone to love. Oh, that's easy, you say. There are 20 women in my sorority to whom I'm devoted. I have 50 classmates with whom I will never lose contact. In fact, my boyfriend and I are really very serious. We've talked about marriage and starting a family, but you know the reality is different. Friendships are forgotten over the years, the casualties of distance and time. Even marriages are now less permanent than they were. It's been said that people are still marrying for better or for worse, but not for long. And marriage is entered into with the joy of springtime, wither and fade if they are not constantly renewed and nurtured. Each of you here today is a member of a family. Each of you has parents. Most of you will have children, and both groups need your help and need your nurture. Our nation is falling apart because families are falling apart. No matter how many or how few in your family, I hope you will nurture each other. Bill Cosby once said, humans are the only species that allow children to come back home. But families are not places of refuge. They are places for nurture. And we need, beyond the family, to reach out. We must restore somehow, and you can do it, you new graduates, we must restore a larger sense of common citizenship, of wider friendship. We must reach out across the years and across the races and across the ethnic groups and across the oceans and across the classes, because only that can redeem our life and our society from separatism and self-interest, from triviality and torpor, from loneliness and defeat. Our hearts require friendship as much as our bodies require food. That is a law of life. And the second requirement for a meaningful life is to have friends. Our own Yuri Bronfenbrenner once said, "The family is the most economical way ever devised, the most powerful, the most stable, and by far the most economical method of making and keeping human beings human." How wonderful it would be if all 5,900 of you graduating today would pledge yourselves to be champions of strong, stable, loving, nurturing families. And then beyond a job and beyond someone to love, building a life means something to hope for. But you reply, "Ah, yes, but we've been born at the wrong time for that. Hopes and heroes have died." Some will say that yours is the first generation which can no longer aspire to the life that is better than that of their parents. Are there really new worlds to conquer, or is there only turf to defend? A travel agency called Destinations Unlimited once put out a brochure which had a series of educational seminars designed with tongue-in-cheek to help people, in their words, cope with the frightening new world. Let me tell you 3 of the titles. Whine Your Way to Alienation. How to Overcome Self-Doubt Through Pretense and Ostentation. The Underachiever's Guide to Very Small Business Opportunities. This weekend is full of gloomy commencement prognoses. But you enter a world which is full of possibilities, boundless in their breadth, and with some areas of real encouragement, a much better world, in fact, a much more promising and open world than the world which your parents inherited at this stage of their lives. The world is renewed by your graduation. And that is a ground for hope. It is the first ground of hope that I offer to you. Your graduation today is a factor that renews the world. Arthur Ashe once said that true heroism is remarkably sober. It's very undramatic. It is not the urge to surpass others at whatever cost, but it is the urge to serve others at whatever cost. And you enter the world today newly minted professionals with a host of different skills, but also with the foresight and the insight and the compassion to apply those skills in the human interest. With your graduation today, the world is born anew, and that is a ground for hope. There's a second reason for hope that your graduation represents, and that is that knowledge, hard-won and humanely used, can improve the human condition. Not immediately, not always, but slowly, haltingly. But it is not knowledge applied in thoughtless abstraction that improves the human lot. It is not technology applied without reflection, untempered by the experience of history. I hope Cornell has given you a healthy skepticism of untested generalities, of unbending ideology, of simplistic solutions casually applied. These are the things that weaken our society, but understanding patiently sought, reason carefully cultivated, knowledge humanely applied, these are the things that improve the human lot, and this is a source of hope. There's a third reason for hope, and that is that all of us, humanity at large, for all our foibles, can be transformed by idealism. Listen to William Carey, recently president of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. There are, said Carey, 3 postulates of democracy. Not that man is good, but that he is capable of goodness. Not that man is free of corruption, but that he is desperately sick of corruption. Not that he has created the good society, but that he has caught an unforgettable glimpse of that good society. And lives of emptiness and self-absorption can be transformed by that unforgettable glimpse of the good. And that is the message of every religion and every true humanist. So is there life after Cornell? There is. There is if you will make it. So get a life. Determine before you leave this familiar campus to commit yourselves to something to do, someone to love, and something to hope for. These are the pieces from which you may craft a life after Cornell. By tomorrow morning, this huge stadium will be empty, and you will have left this friendly hill for every corner of the earth. By then, if not before, you will have forgotten almost everything that I said this morning. But I hope that if you remember nothing else, you will remember three simple words: work, love, hope. For with them you can build a life of meaning and purpose and fulfillment. With them, there is life, abundant life, after you leave Cornell. There is an old Gaelic blessing with which I like to send each graduating class into the life that exists after Cornell. And it seems particularly appropriate this morning, for its message is one of love, of work, and of hope. May the sun shine gently on your face. May the rain fall soft upon your fields. May the wind be at your back. May the road rise to meet you. And may the Lord hold you in the hollow of his hand until we meet again. Graduates of the wonderful class of 1994, good success, Godspeed.
And the assembled thousands rise, applauding Cornell President Frank H.G. Rhodes. Concluding his speech with the traditional Gaelic blessing. We'll hear the Cornell Chorus and Cornell Glee Club under Ronald Schiller performing a Schiller composition titled With Patient Zeal, an anthem for commencement. Conductor Robert Schiller leading the Cornell Chorus and Cornell Glee Club in his own composition.
We will now proceed to the conferring of degrees granted in course. The first groups to be presented to the President for conferral of degrees are the graduate candidates who have completed work in the graduate school or in one of the professional schools. The next groups to be admitted to the Fellowship of Educated Men and Women are the candidates for bachelor's degrees. Will the Dean of the Graduate School, Walter Cohen, please step forward? And will the candidates for the doctor's degree from the graduate school please rise and the degree marshals come to the platform?
Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and are duly recommended by the faculty of the graduate school for the appropriate degree of Doctor of Philosophy or Doctor of Musical Arts.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority vested in me by the trustees of Cornell University, I hereby confer upon each of you the doctoral degree appropriate to your field of advanced study and research, together with all the rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Thank you, Walter.
Cornell University welcomes the new Doctors of Philosophy and Doctors of Musical Arts to the Ancient and Universal Company of Scholars. Will the doctors please be seated? Will the Dean of the College of Veterinary Medicine, Robert Phimister, please step forward? Will the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine please rise and the degree marshals come to the platform?
Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty of the College of Veterinary Medicine for the degree of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority vested in me by the trustees of Cornell University, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, together with all the rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Will the Doctors of Veterinary Medicine please be seated? And now will the Dean of the Graduate School, Walter Cohen, please return to the microphone. Will the candidates for the master's degree in the studies that have been directed by the graduate school please rise, and will the degree marshals come to the platform?
Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and are duly recommended by the faculty of the graduate school for the master's degree, be it Master of Arts, Master of Science, Master of Architecture, Master of Arts and Teaching, Master of Engineering, Master of Fine Arts, Master of Health Administration, Master of Industrial and Labor Relations, Master of Landscape Architecture, Master of Laws, Master of Nutritional Science, Master of Public Administration, Master of Professional Studies, and Master of Regional Planning.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by authority vested in me by the trustees of Cornell University, I hereby confer upon each of you the master's degree to which you are entitled, together with all the rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Will the masters please be seated? And now will the Dean of the Samuel Curtis Johnson Graduate School of Management, Alan Merton, please step forward? And will the candidates for the degree of Master of Business Administration from the Samuel Curtis Johnson Graduate School of Management please rise? And will the degree marshals come to the platform?
Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty of the Samuel Curtis Johnson Graduate School of Management for the degree of Masters of Business Administration.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority vested in me by the trustees of Cornell University, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Business Administration, together with all the rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Will the masters please be seated? Will the two class marshals representing the entire Cornell University senior class please come to the platform? In a moment, each college group will be called to rise for a presentation to the president and then asked to be seated. After the bachelor's degree groups have been presented to the president, all groups will be asked to rise again for the awarding of the degrees. The degree marshals for the bachelor's groups will come forward to the base of the platform as each group is called. Will the Dean of the School of Industrial and Labor Relations, David Lipsky, please come forward? And will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science from the School of Industrial and Labor Relations please rise? And will the school degree marshals please come to the platform?
Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty of the School of Industrial and Labor Relations for the degree of Bachelor of Science.
Thank you, Dean Lipsky.
Will the candidates please be seated? Will the Dean of the College of Architecture, Art, and Planning, William McMinn, please come forward? And will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Architecture, Bachelor of Fine Arts, and Bachelor of Science from the College of Architecture, Art, and Planning please rise? And will the degree marshals for the college please come to the front of the platform?
Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty of the College of Architecture, Art, and Planning for the degree of Bachelor of Architecture, Bachelor of Fine Arts, and Bachelor of Science.
Thank you, Dean McMinn.
Will the candidates please be seated? Will the Dean of the School of Hotel Administration, David Dittman, please come forward? And now will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science from the School of Hotel Administration please rise, and the degree marshals please come to the front of the platform.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty of the School of Hotel Administration for the degree of Bachelors of Science.
Thank you, Dean Dittman.
Will the candidates please be seated? Will the Dean of the College of Human Ecology, Francine Firebaugh, please come forward? And will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science from the College of Human Ecology please rise, and the degree marshals please come to the front of the platform?
Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty of the College of Human Ecology for the degree Bachelor of Science.
Thank you, Dean Firebaugh.
Will the candidates please be seated? And at this point, will the Dean of the College of Engineering, John Hopcroft, please come forward? Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science from the College of Engineering please rise, and the degree marshals come to the front of the platform?
Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and are duly recommended by the faculty of the College of Engineering for the degree of Bachelor of Science.
Thank you, Dean Hopcroft.
Will the candidates please be seated? Will the Dean of the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, David Cole, please come forward? And will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science from the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences please rise, and the degree marshals please come to the front of the platform?
President Rhodes, I have the honor of presenting 846 candidates who have met the requirements and are duly recommended by the faculty for the degree of Bachelor of Science.
Thank you, Dean Cole.
Will the candidates be seated? And finally, will the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Don Randall, please come forward? And will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts from the College of Arts and Sciences please rise, and the degree marshals come to the front of the platform.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and are duly recommended by the faculty of the College of Arts and Sciences for the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
Thank you, Dean Randall.
And will all bachelor degree candidates please rise at this point?
It is my privilege to recognize the candidates recommended by the deans and the faculties of these several schools and colleges for the appropriate bachelor's degrees. By the authority vested in me by the trustees of Cornell University, I hereby confer upon each of you the bachelor's degree appropriate to your field of study, together with all the rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Will the assembly please stand for the singing of the alma mater and the evening song? are nearing the conclusion of this 126th Cornell Commencement. We thank you for being with us, and we congratulate our new graduates. Please remain standing during the recessional until the faculty have left the field.
Ezra Cornell, that concludes the 126th commencement ceremony at Cornell University. And there is one sentence that I've always gotten a little chill when I hear it uttered at the commencement ceremony, and that is that the graduates are admitted to the fellowship of educated men and women. I think it's a wonderful phrase.
I don't know where it comes from. We should do a little homework for next year and have that.
I would wager the late Blanchard Rideout had something to do with that phrase.
Blanchard was a wonderful man. Wonderful man. Heard some great words from Frank today. President Rhodes speaking to the students, but really speaking to everyone.
As he does at his commencement speech, he reminds the candidates for graduation, now the graduates, that their lives, as President Rhodes leaves the stadium, coming down the center aisle, preceded by the mace carried by Gene Robinson, applauding the graduates. As he does at commencement speeches, he reminds the graduates that their lives should include a sense of the human experience, shared human experience, and that means sharing responsibility too. He said, a successful life, he said this morning, a successful life has three parts: something to do, someone to love, something to hope for. As the Cornell Wind Ensemble provides the recessional music, President Rhodes said this morning, there is the job, the goal simply earning a living and supporting your family. He said then there's the career, where you can trace your progress through various appointments and achievements. And he said finally there is the calling, the ideal blending of activity and character that makes work inseparable from life. And I think he called this morning on the graduates to remember to hear that calling.
Let's hope many of them are lucky enough to do just that.
And the organization, solemnity, combined with anticipation that marked the processional just 2 hours ago. It began at 9:30 this morning and now gives way to the much more relaxed recessional. And the scattering of the graduates, many of them as they seek family in the Cornell Crescent, those thousands, as you can see, remaining.
Cornell University's great annual pageant coming to a conclusion with a lot of photographs, and certainly going to be a good day for Kodak and Sony today, right?
And the most difficult chore of the day for the graduates and their families is finding each other. Graduates remaining fairly organized on the Shelkoff Field playing surface, awaiting the conclusion of the faculty recessional. And then I think we'll see a bit of breaking of the ranks.
On the whole, Roy, this has been a very orderly commencement.
It has indeed. And again, I think the pleasure, Ezra Cornell, that you and I have being able to observe this event each year is the smiles, the wonderful smiles of relief, mostly joy on the graduates' faces, and the grins of pride.
For so many years of hard work, they earned it. Absolutely, these students earned it.
Parents, family members, cherished friends who attend these ceremonies are certainly and justifiably very proud of their young people, and in some cases, not so young people.
It's true. President Rhodes cited how hard it is to earn a Cornell degree and mentioned two students who worked very hard this year. I should say this year, the last 4 years to get a degree. Mary Jo Fink and Helene Rosenblatt. Helene Rosenblatt was completing her degree in human ecology, which she began 53 years ago.
As President Rhodes said in his speech, her pursuit of that degree interrupted by World War II.
Sholkoff Field at this point is a sea of people shaking hands, embracing.
And the Cornell banner flying high over Sholkoff House. This throng of nearly 6,000 graduates, nearly 25,000 onlookers, breaking up as graduates seek their family, vice versa. The central campus will remain congested for a couple of hours as the largest gathering to occur in Ithaca begins to disperse.
Students and their family and friends will now proceed over to their various colleges where there are receptions and the actual parchment degrees are handed out. After, of course, any remaining fees and bills are taken care of. So we say the incidentals.
A class of 94 banner remains in its place of honor in front of the podium. A site for many photographs to be taken. And the Cornell Wind Ensemble. The music you hear is Give My Regards to Davy. Well, Ezra Cornell, we have, I know, enjoyed watching this 126th commencement ceremony from Cornell University's Shelkoff Field. Nearly 6,000 degrees conferred by Cornell President Frank Rhodes in his penultimate ceremony. Next year's ceremony will be his last as Cornell President, as he has announced his retirement. But for 6,000 Cornell graduates, a grand new beginning. We're so happy you could join us this morning. Ezra Cornell, thank you. I'm Roy Ives. It has been a wonderful Sunday and the pride of Cornell University.